morning. That means it's time to talk to Michele, 1L Cummins, no G. It's time for the Cummins Real Estate Group show. My name is Curtis Pope. Good morning, Michele.
Hello, Curtis Pope. How are you?
I am good. Now, before I forget, I want to get right out of the way, right off the get-go, and wish you a happy 29th birthday yesterday.
Oh, 29 forever. That's on my golf cart. Oh, my gosh. How did you know?
Because you've told me repeatedly that you're 29.
Yeah, don't you forget it. Oh, I turned 46. I am going to tell you, 46 is great. My 40s have been fantastic. It's like you just, you've been through this and you've been through that. And, it's usually when you just realize, you work hard, but you got to play hard. You got to enjoy life. You can't hold everything in a little, hidden little something and keep it for, that when you, decide to retire or this or that. But yeah, I mean, you got to have a good balance because life is short, and I'm happy that I'm 46, so I don't look at it as a negative. I'm a year older, but yeah, I go to sleep and wake up, and boy, a whole year's gone by.
It can feel like that for sure. Here's the good thing. As also being in my 40s and being older than you, although not by much, the thing about being in your 40s, it's nice, and nobody ever tells you about this, is when you're in your 40s, you suddenly have credibility. When you're in your 20s and 30s, nobody listens to you. You're just a kid. You don't know what you're talking about. But when you're in your 40s...
you don't even listen to yourself, practically.
Yeah, when you're in your 40s, suddenly people are like, oh, you've got some life experience. You got some credibility. We'll listen to you now.
Yeah, it's true. It is exactly right. And it's so amazing how our bodies and chemistry and everything like changes every 7 years. They say like our skin and everything. But it seems like every decade so much changes as well. And I was just talking to some colleagues and friends, the other day about how, I wonder what it's going to be this next decade. We're in 2020, and what's this next decade going to be like? What kind of new music is going to come out? And what kind of new designs and fashion? And things are changing so much. But it seems like every decade, right, that we have a change in kind of music and clothing, like design. Mm-hmm. You find that?
Yeah, and sometimes the style goes back 30 years because it's amazing how my kids wear skinny jeans and high-top runners.
Yeah, it's all come back. But what's new? Do you think there's just going to be a mishmash of nothing? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We can never know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
That is true.
What's going to be created, but it just seems like,
Well, I see a lot of long hair and beards out there thanks to COVID, so maybe that'll be a new fashion trend.
Totally. I think so. What did they call? Oh, there was a name for that about half a decade ago. They were calling them, there was a name.
A lumberjack look, what?
Yeah, well, kind of pretty much. I also had this week, we had our annual event for the Cummins Real Estate Group, CREG for short. So we had this a brew crew. We were the brew crew this year.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was 10 of us and then our driver. So we hired the bus and, and we decided to go do this. Craft brewery has been this just huge thing lately in BC, and we're starting to become known for that.
Absolutely, and I'm a big fan.
Totally, right? And I'm not as that big of a fan for beer as I am for other things, but you know what? It was a fun time. But so we went to 5 different ones, and have you ever been to the ones I'm going to mention? These 5. Have you been to Ravens?
Oh, absolutely. We've done our charity beer with Ravens a few times, right? And Ravens actually, and I'm giving them a shameless plug here because I love it so much. One of my favorite beers. They have the 2 to Tango, which is a jalapeno mango beer, which I love.
I tried that in my flight, and that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that is. You know what? And I get it that it's a bit polarizing. Not everybody likes it. I love it.
Yeah, that was good, and it stood out. Oh, You're right. And then we went to 5 Roads in Langley. Have you been there?
I have.
Okay, that is a really, really neat outdoor area now. I mean, a lot of them now do. but they've got like new shavings, and they got on the ground, and then the really loungy chairs and really cool vibe, just relaxing. It was like one of the most relaxing places we went to. The big trees above, so it's really shaded. It was a really hot day. And then they fenced around, and I was like, is this kind of new? And they said, well, because of COVID, we started doing this. And I noticed that trend, and it's like one of the positive things I believe that came out of the pandemic. And I just heard this last week too that they're going to allow drinking in parks.
Apparently, yeah, which should be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. And then, okay, so Five Rose, actually, that was Andrew from our team. He liked their beer the best. That was his favorite at Five Roads. And Richard's too, actually. They have this big can that's like not a growler. It's like a mini growler, but it's still pretty big. It's a can. Anyways, it's called Harry, not Potter, but Harry Porter.
Harry Porter, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so he got that. I haven't tried it yet, but that'll be good. And then we went to Farm Country in Langley.
I have not been there.
Okay, that is unique. All these websites are really neat to look at, but Farm Country is really in the middle of a whole bunch of shopping. Like there's the Salvation Army that burnt down about 15 years ago, and then they rebuilt it. It's kind of in that strip mall, and and it's all farmy. And Adrian's husband, he's wearing his cowboy hat, and he was so perfect. You should see the photo. I'll be posting them, but it was perfect. It's like, you go in this look here. I should have worn my boots, but it was awesome. And then Field House in Abbotsford. We went back to Abbotsford, and Field House is, of course, awesome. They have a little mini stage, and on Thursday evenings they have live music. So local artists, and then Old Yale and Chilliwack. And a client of mine is head brewer master there. And that was really, really good and a lot of fun. And they have an inside stage. And we had this whole room, and then all of a sudden, Caressa, one of my colleagues, she was there. She goes up on stage, and she starts just making up this story about a rabbit and a coyote. I don't know where it came from. Maybe a few of the beers. Maybe
Could
that's
be.
where it came from. No, we were having a good time. She started the story, and it was really creative. And then she came off the stage, and she tagged one of us. Another one went up there, and we all added to the story, but gave it a twist, like turned it or changed it. And it was just out of the blue. It was just off the cuff, and then people would come in, and there was laughter, and then the guys that were working there would come around. Really funny. But you know what? And then we ended at Major League 2, which is like at Chilliwack, but it's a sports bar. But why we went there was because, of course, it's more of a sit-down restaurant kind of style, so we could have some dinner. But they have a whole bunch of different craft local beers on tap, like a whole bunch. And so how I got this whole lineup is actually there's a few really neat websites for this. There is beermebc.com, which kind of shows a lot of different things. And then there's a website called bcaletrail.ca and justthebeerapp.com. And then bccraftbeer.com. So, of course, the BC ones, and then the local ones. And then you can, there's a whole bunch of good ones, too, in, like, the greater Vancouver area, Port Moody. But we kind of wanted to keep it to the Fraser Valley, of course. So, it was a blast. And we had really good times. And I think it was, like, 12 hours. It was crazy long.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. So, as I was asking, it was amazing. I go into the first brewery, and we all have our shirts on. We have our Cummins Real Estate Group Brew Crew, but on the front it says real estate advice for beer. So as I go in, they're like reading the shirt, and then I'm like, "Hi, real estate advice for beer," and they really thought I will. Yeah. If they asked for advice, I would want a beer, like give me a beer for advice. It was a joke, of course, but their faces were like, oh, she's going to expect a free beer. And like clockwork, every single one of them had this look. It was hilarious. But then they started warming up, and it was like, oh, yeah. And so it was hard to get the questions out of them. But, their mindsets are not on real estate. But quickly, some of the tips I had, the first tip at Ravens was, first tip, most important, is get a good agent. That's my first tip. And then the second tip was at 5 Roads, and it was buy low, sell high, of course, right? And then the third tip is location, 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 whether it's for your personal property or an investment or vacation property. A fourth tip is get pre-approved, know your numbers, know the costs, and make a calculated decision. Fifth tip, and the last tip, is just do it. When you can buy, you should buy. And don't just wait and try to time the market. Just do it. Because here in the greater Vancouver, Fraser Valley areas, it's all about building equity, and it builds pretty fast. So as soon as you're able to, go for it. But you know what? All of that great advice, a tip for each place, but we didn't get any free beer.
I was going to say, now, do you have to go back and go, I gave these tips, I gave you plugs, do I get some beer? You know what we need? We need Cummins Real Estate Group beer that you can give to people when they buy a house.
Hey, you are full of creative and awesome ideas, Curtis.
Just think you can have your smiling face on the can. You can put me in the corner, very small.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
There was a place in Hawaii that had 120 beers or something on tap of draft beer when I was in Hawaii.
Oh, 120?
Yeah, and they came in half-yard size glasses.
Whoa, that sounds fun and filling.
I may have indulged in a couple of the half-yard, beers, but, it was Christmas Day.
You know what? So one of my favorite beers that I've had was actually they don't make it anymore, but it was Dead Frog Brewery, and it was a pepper orange. I think like a black pepper.
Yeah,
pepper
I remember
orange.
that one, yep.
Do you? Did you love it?
Yeah, it was the pepper mandarin or something like that it was called.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. Of course, only limited time.
Of course, yeah. You see, for me, my problem is after that trip to Hawaii, I fell in love with Kona Brewing Company beer, which you can only find in limited places here, and you can only find like one or two of the flavors.
Oh, can you order it in?
That's a good question. When I haven't thought, I just buy the stuff I see when I see it.
Yeah, ask if they'll order it in, because a lot of times they will, like the different wines and different things.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. I guess we should probably take a break right about now. If people want information about real estate and not beer, although it sounds like you can help them with both, what do they got to do?
MichelleCummins.ca.
We are back with more right after this. Segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Group show after our first segment where we largely talked about beer, which is one of my favorite topics. We need to talk about one of your favorite topics now, of course, which is a little bit more about real estate, Michele. And, I guess the market's been absolutely hot like the weather as of late.
It has been crazy hot, and it hasn't been slowing down. And the pent-up demand, it's not the only thing that's fueling this hot market that we have, because we all know that there has been a pent-up demand because of the pandemic and what's been going on. And we started our year off really strong, the real estate market. Our March beginning was amazing. And then all of a sudden there was a halt, a huge slowdown and pause. So there is a pent-up demand. And it seems that even though things are being a little bit stricter this last week or two or so, and being very cautious as we're trying to get out of the pandemic healthy and safely, and we're all trying to be careful, but the hot market is still so hot. So there's been a shift in consumer behavior, and that's one of the other things that has been causing it, as well as low mortgage rates. Those are some major reasons for the unprecedented rise in home sales over the past 7 weeks that we've seen. Our stats have shown that it is a seller's market. It's hot. But as well as those things, though, it's huge supply and demand. That is a saying, you hear it all the time, and it's so true. Right now, there's more home buyers out there than there's properties, homes, and places for these buyers to buy. So that's been huge. And we've been seeing a trend in selling off stocks for the last so many months, actually. A lot of people are selling their investments, such as stocks, and moving into tangible assets like real estate and gold. So these are some of the things fueling our hot market. The rise of popularity of McMansions has been something to note. So I've been seeing this a lot lately, a lot in the last couple months especially, and other sprawling estates, not just McMansions, but like a bit more space, a bit more breathing room, acreage. It's where buyers are sort of trending to. We're seeing a major comeback of these types of purchases during this pandemic. For the last so many years, the trend has been for people to buy things on the smaller scale. I mean, everybody's been going into townhouses and condos and seeing them as good investments, and that's been sort of the thing that the trend we've seen for years now. Things are much more manageable for their lifestyles, but after the pandemic, it's been like the polar opposite. It's been very interesting to see. People are trending toward larger and pieces of property and larger homes. They want space. They want more bedrooms. They want more multiple offices. Now, just not as in one office or den, but actually multiple offices. And they want an area for their kids separate from the parents. And sometimes the parents are wanting separate from each other, like just enough space for us all to live and enjoy and even be healthy in our own environments. So that's been huge for the real estate market that I've seen. Amid this pandemic that we've been in, there's been a lot of talk about how buying sight unseen, too, could be the future of luxury and real estate in general. I was talking to colleagues just the other day, and we were talking about, what do you see moving forward, in this decade or moving forward, we're in 2020 or with everything that's been going on, what do you see is going to be happening? And we were all under the same agreement of that, a lot of people think, real estate's just going to go online and there's going to be more available online. So therefore buyers are just going to buy online and buy sight unseen. But that is not the case, and that's not what we see happening, and not that what's going to happen. So many times I've had people say, oh, yeah, I want to buy that property of yours, Michele, and they've seen all this stuff online, everything's great, and they're like, no, I absolutely want to write an offer, I want it. And, it's like I don't make a habit of selling something before you view it, because what happens is it's not cash. They don't have deposit in hand. It's not a firm. They just want to write an offer. There's always still those subject to viewing or subject to inspection or, and so with that, no, sorry, you come and view it first, because when you view it, there's always I didn't know it had X, or I didn't know it had Y, or, they have personal reasons and other reasons that maybe they didn't mention or they didn't think of when they were looking at all of it and asking questions about it, that when they see it, physically see it, that it changes. So that won't be the case moving forward in real estate. Even during this time, I had a couple people write offers on properties sight unseen, me as their buyer's agent, because they couldn't get in. But it ended up that at the end of the day, they didn't actually buy it sight unseen. They still had to see it, and there was still issues, and then didn't come together. Like those things that happen all the time. So you have to think of that. So something buyers, they'll always want to be able to see something, especially a gigantic purchase like that. It's not like it's an investment that it's a passive investment and they're relying on somebody else that they trust and know, and that's invested in it with them to do everything. But those people are still viewing it. So at the end result, it's still going to be viewed first. And another trend that is happening is accessory dwelling units or side units. We've been seeing a big increase in demand over the summer. So that's been a huge trend. And again, talking with colleagues and chatting about it and seeing what's happening, it's in a way of adapting to the pandemic and as a more long-term option for affordable housing. So that's been increasing. And also we've seen cities okaying like zoning and building codes, changing it to allow for legal suites in townhouses. So we think that's going to become a bigger thing for builders right out the gate, as they put in for building in their new construction, and for potentially changing to having legal suites in townhouses. So I think that's a lot that's going to happen as well. So I think it's going to be a permanent trend moving forward with that. And I've been noticing healthy and wealthy millennials moving to places that they haven't really been focused on in the past. So, and there's a new study by Smart Assets, and they have found, looking at millennials under the age of 35 who make more than or around close to $100,000 a year, the studies have found that the majority of those made a move lately or are moving to outskirts. So not necessarily Vancouver, Port Moody, White Rock, the great, but actually like the Fraser Valley and Chilliwack. So we've been seeing that trend happening. So it's very interesting what all this has caused and what we've been seeing happen lately. So that's some interesting. And did you know, I know last week I talked about Matthew Good's, the property for sale in Mission. That's just beautiful and amazing. So I was like, I've got another one for this week. Have you ever seen or gone through a ghost town, Curtis?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been through. I can't remember the name. There's one on the in Oregon there. I went to when I was down there a few years ago.
Is it so amazing? Do you feel like you step into a movie or you step into another time, or like you're going, I can't believe there's nobody here. It literally is a whole town.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's a different vibe, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, there is a whole ghost town for sale right now in Arizona. So it is Arizona, but it's amazing. So the real estate agent, Justin Godsey, he's selling this Arizona ghost town. It's totally complete. It's got a dive bar, a mercantile, a handful of homes. It's a whole ghost town, and it's $1.25 million. Yep.
It's not Tombstone by chance, is it? No, it wouldn't be Tombstone. I think that's a national park or something.
I don't know, but that's really neat. Can you imagine buying Tombstone? I mean, even buying a town itself, but like, somebody can make it into like, I don't know, that could be a whole business.
Yeah.
You can create something in the whole town and make it like a tourist attraction.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
And when you look at the price for the whole town, I mean, obviously the price is, that's nothing compared to what it would take to get something up and running. But that would be pretty neat. You can name the town anything you want. You could be your own mayor.
I'd still screw it up, even for myself. Have you got any listings we need to talk about here a little closer to home?
Yes, so I've got a new listing off Millstone is live. I've mentioned it about it coming soon. Well, now it's live. It went live yesterday, and it's a beautiful home. It's almost 4,000 square feet. The lot is almost 8,000 square feet, and it's backing onto green space, privacy, and a creek. So everything everybody would want, of course. It's $998,000. It's in Abbotsford. It's East Abbotsford. It's 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It's in the cul-de-sac as well. So really the best of so many worlds. So I'm not having open houses this weekend. It is BC long weekend, so it's time to enjoy your friends and enjoy your success and just have a relaxing Monday and a relaxing weekend. But yeah, the following weekend, I am booking 2 open houses for next weekend. And I have a list of a refreshed list of court orders and foreclosure sales on my website at michelecummins.ca. You can go on there and see all the latest and newest foreclosures and court order sales that are there or here and available. And I have it coming soon. And this is really unique. It's a 4-plex in Mission. And these are very, very, very rare. Like very rare. Can I say that again? Very rare.
You can say it one more time if you like.
Very rare.
Perfect.
And it is, we don't have a price point on it yet, but it is going to be listed late this next week, and it's a walking distance to West Coast Express, Heritage Park. You can walk to the leisure center with all the cool pools and all the fun events, downtown shopping. It's a great location, and the thing is, you can live in one of them. It could be something that you purchase and as an investment and live in it yourself if you want, improve it yourself, or just rent it as an investment. The also great thing about it is it's zoned for future multifamily. Now, it's already a fourplex, but we're talking like townhouses. We're talking more density. So it's a great investment in all ways. So that's my coming to. So as I said, no open houses this weekend. And so I think I would just love to give an encouraging quote to everyone. And this week's quote is, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. And that's Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
I was going to say you can't get any cooler, but there's a lot of cool stuff.
All right. Well,
out there.
I think that gave us something to think about. And of course, this is also, your birthday weekend. And I'm sure that your husband has to get out and spoil you a bit this long weekend. So we don't want to keep you any longer.
And my 22nd anniversary.
And your 22nd anniversary, right?
That's today. That's today, actually.
So you got married right back to back with your birthday.
I was young and crazy and reckless. Yes. I was like, I have a birthday. Might as well get married the next day and just celebrate.
You see, it's funny enough. Kelly tried that with me. Her birthday was an available date for our wedding, and I said, no way. And her mom went, why not? And I went, because if I forget one, I forget both. So I was thinking ahead.
Oh my gosh! And here I thought, if I do them back to back, then he surely wouldn't forget. How could he forget?
Well, that's just it. Yeah, at least you got them back to back. They were going to be on the same day, birthday and anniversary.
Okay, that would be tough.
So one time in my life, I made the smart decision. All right, Michele. If people want more information about real estate, what do they got to do?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when once again we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.